Today is Monday, January 8th, 2024, and these are three things that Apple needs to do in the upcoming year to ensure ongoing success as well as bringing value to their customers. So, the date is important because Apple just announced the details for the launch of the Vision Pro. It's coming out on Friday, February 2nd. It's going to be powered by the M2 system on a chip. It's going to have a battery pack that gives you 2.5 hours of usage for 2D video playback, and it's going to come with 256 gigabytes of onboard storage. So Apple really has to nail the launch of this product and get really good reviews because this is probably the biggest release since the iPhone that came out in 2007. And I believe the reason why this is coming out now is because Tim Cook wants to establish his legacy after he eventually retires from the company. So this could be the next big thing in computing that's ever happened ever since the birth of the personal computer. This is a really big deal. Apple has spent billions of dollars and used thousands of engineers to bring this computer to light. So the early reviews for the Vision Pro have been really good. People like Brian Tong and Marquez have come out and said that this is a really great product, that the eye tracking is spot on, that the gestures by using your hands are completely natural. So there are a lot of good reports coming out so far for this Revision 1 hardware of the Vision Pro. The only thing that's going to probably catch users by surprise is the weight and the weight distribution of the headset itself, because someone like Joanna Stern mentioned in her initial impressions that after about 20 or 30 minutes of use, the headset does start to pinch up against your face, and the weight really does catch up with you. However, given all of these things and given the way that Apple is presenting this product, I really do think that this is going to be a hit. And at $3,500, the only people who can really afford this product are people with a lot of disposable income. So those are the things that really need to come together for the Vision Pro. As I said, this is the most important product to Apple since the iPhone. And I believe in terms of being a revolutionary product, I think that the Vision Pro is even a bigger product compared to 2007 when Steve Jobs introduced the original iPhone. Second, Apple needs to increase the base spec for the consumer-oriented computers. Systems such as the M3 iMac and the forthcoming M3 Mac Mini and the M3 MacBook Air, all of those systems should have at least 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. I think it's almost an insult at this point to their customers to sell systems such as the M3 MacBook Pro to only have 8 gigabytes of RAM inside of that computer. And for Apple at this point, it's an obvious cash grab because computers have been coming with 8 gigabytes of RAM going, I believe, all the way back to 2012. So it's been 11 years of 8 gigabytes of RAM in their computers. And even with Apple Silicon on board and trying to justify that with the unified memory, that doesn't hold too much water. So the really big thing between the two is the RAM, but also with the storage, because 256 gigabytes really is not enough. And what really surprises me about the Vision Pro and the details that were released today is that the Vision Pro is only going to come with 256 gigabytes of storage. So for a computer, a new paradigm in computing, and this new headset to come out, for it only to have a quarter of a terabyte of storage at $3,500 is simply insane. Apple really needs to stop the greed and really put in parts that are really useful for the customer, because at this point it's really hard to justify selling these systems at such a markup with such meager specs that's coming out with it. So that's one big thing that I really want to see Apple do, is go to the minimum of 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage, and they need to fix that. Finally, this is something that would be nice to have. Apple should release a 32-inch iMac Pro. So back in the Intel days, the Mac Mini really was an entry-level platform. On top of that, you have the consumer-oriented standard iMac, and at the top of that was the iMac Pro. So the iMac Pro really bridged the gap between the 2013 trash can to where we are today. And the interesting thing about the current lineup is you have the Mac Mini, which is more capable using Apple Silicon, and on top of that, you have the Mac Studio. And what it really looks like to me is that the handwriting is on the wall, and it looks like they're going to dump the Mac Pro and eventually only offer the Mac Studio for professionals. So that's one thing to look at. And I think a lot of people out there, a lot of pros out there who like the original iMac Pro, I think if Apple came out with a 32-inch display with the power of an M3 Max or M3 Ultra chip, I think those are really compelling things to put inside of the iMac because the screen, Apple's displays are really the best of the best. And if they even put in a high refresh rate 32-inch LCD display inside of the new iMac Pro, I think that would get a lot of customers to go out there and buy that Mac, and it's going to make Apple a lot of money. And I think a lot of consumers are going to be really happy with a pro level iMac. So those are the three things I think that Apple has to do this year. The Vision Pro has to be a really phenomenal product. It cannot flop. Second, increase the base spec for the computers. And third, a nice thing to have will be this 32-inch iMac Pro. All right, that's about it. Peace.